Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is, how do you know if you're sort of being objectified by someone? Someone who is treating you basically as an object, not really understanding because of a lack of empathy. They don't really see that you have different feelings, needs, perspective, or see things differently that is credible and valid and worthwhile and important. So that feeling of being able to have that type of interaction is very crucial in healthy relationships. But if you are objectified, you will feel just that, like an object. In other words, you don't really have any rules or terms or say so yourself. You'll feel that this other person is sort of controlling the rules, the laws. They want you to care and then not care. They want you to date them and then not date them. And oftentimes you don't know what will precipitate, this conflict. And so people aren't aware really of these dynamics when they're in the midst of it, and it's usually sort of aftermath, or when they see their true colors or something has been exposed. Then they have a better idea what they're dealing with, but they usually want to deny and protect that person. So, this couldn't be true. They didn't do this. They didn't say that. They didn't, cheat on me. They didn't do this and this and then run away with that and that. So a lot of people, I would say, in the beginning of when they're being objectified, they very much want to protect or preserve the happiness of the narcissist or the psychopath, even if it overrides their own happiness. There's a very strange dynamic, a very strong bond, I think, that really carries through time and is pervasive to a narcissist, because they sort of come off as very charming, as very dramatic. Oftentimes will have a lot of superiority viewpoints, and then people will believe them. Oh, you're this, you're that, and then will buy into that without really realizing what is happening to them in the process, while you're sort of basking in their goodness, so to speak. This becomes disempowering to you, which means you don't have your personal I am, your own feelings, your own self-respect in living color when you're being objectified. Your self-respect, well, so someone sort of acknowledges the way that they treat you, eye contact, keeping their voice a specific way, having heart. These are sort of, different intangibles, but you kind of know when people are operating out of respect or disrespect. If you're being objectified, you're being treated as an object. You really, nothing more than what you might consider an object for someone else's pleasure is how people will usually feel. And the narcissist will usually sort of feel that others will sort of buffer them. In other words, where are you being objectified? They might not like to go out to lunch by themselves. And so they'll just sort of take people along just to sort of buffer, but they don't really care about this person. But they might, treat them as if, while in, or try to develop a relationship. And this person has no loyalty or commitment. Loyalty and commitment are oftentimes very waning, or what feel waning and waxing. Meaning, you're in and then you're out. You're in and then you're out. This becomes very stressful because you don't know what buttons the narcissist, will oftentimes blame you for pushing their buttons when they are triggered by something, they're set off by something that they want precedence or acknowledgement and validation over. And contrary to your feedback. So in other words, they want you to listen. They want you to satisfy. They want you to fulfill. They want you to take your marching orders from them. And so if you're being objectified, you'll feel that you're only doing oftentimes very physical or instrumental or mediocre or mundane. you won't feel that you're really getting to self-actualize, that you're developing, like along Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You feel that you're sort of not prospering. You've got something is, you might feel that there's something wrong or off, but you can't put your finger on it, or you're afraid to address it and put your finger on it. How many people are fearful of this sort of unknown zone when you're in a relationship that is very objectifying? Meaning they treat you more as an instrument. They aren't there for emotional connections. So, for example, you hear about marriages of convenience or these different things. So, in other words, it's just, and oftentimes your emotional needs are not addressed. You might have your physical needs addressed, but you won't have your emotional, psychological, social. So it'll create problems in these areas for the other party. With a narcissist, it's non-problematic if they objectify others or if they just sort of use others. A lot of people would not be comfortable using others or just sort of using others as a buffer. But a narcissist is comfortable with that. A psychopath is comfortable with that. People with empathy usually they're bringing something more sentient to the table. They're bringing a value, and it is oftentimes this value which is deflected, which is minimized, shrugged off, swept away, thought to be irrelevant or unimportant, or you're mistaken. So, the narcissist oftentimes they'll be very corrective of others, even when it's not necessary. So they'll create oftentimes this tension, and yet you're usually, sort of trying to have a two-way fair exchange. But this will really become unbalanced with time, i.e. the percentage of the relationship, what is talking about them and what is talking about you, what is talking about the world at large, what's talking about your interests, what's talking about your future pursuits, things that, require trust, commitment, and loyalty. So, these, you really have to understand the cause that's going to create the effect so that you're not objectified. People don't like to be, it can be what you might consider as very superficial. That they just want somebody there. Anyone who can fog up a screen, has a pulse. You're not valued for who and what you are, yet the narcissist will put on a show that they value you in the relationship. And then, you'll find that behind closed doors, or, you didn't know this was occurring, but they will have behavior that's contradictory and direct opposite to this. So this becomes very confusing and very painful for other people because they can't quite connect the dots or correct their mistreatment. This is the problem, is that you cannot correct their mistreatment of you. You cannot control other people. You can attempt to have a conversation, bring it up, clear the air, address this, lay this out, sort it out, let's sift through this. This is how I feel. But the narcissist, they're not going to feel that they have done anything wrong. And because of their entitlement, they really don't feel any need to go any deeper with you. You might feel that, then this sort of the shallowness is what is going to be leaving, causing you to feel empty or depressed, meaning that you don't have any sort of resource within that feels of value. So people feel valueless or unimportant or unattractive, unlovable, ugly, all sorts of different things, which oftentimes are flawed thinking, but can be the result of objectifying treatment. And, this is not very holistic. The relationship then will only be able to grow to a specific place. It won't be able to be expansive and be oftentimes a resource for privacy and what you might call social support or emotional support from the narcissist, especially when to resolve the hurt that they have created. So it's kind of like it's an emotional injury. It really is hurtful. This is emotional pain. This is a real feeling, especially when you're objectified. You kind of feel that you're just really relegated to a number of tasks for them, and you're not seen for more than that. So oftentimes with people in a relationship, if you don't have a vision for the relationship, then you will fall short, you will fall flat. If you don't, if you don't have that vision, and if you are not incorporated in the vision, in other words, then that you might find that the narcissist is the one, quote unquote, with the vision, that's calling the shots, that's pulling the lever, that's deciding what flies and what doesn't fly. And this oftentimes can be fine, but it can go too far. And people then really begin to feel that they are not supported, acknowledged, or validated, or getting any sort of attention themselves. So they might go through a number of different issues to get attention. Any sundry ways. Over drinking, overeating, getting unhealthy, not taking care of yourself, not able to work. These will become subconscious ploys for attention. People find that they have a very weak immune system, or they're struggling with other health issues that are oftentimes psychosomatic or stress-induced, but then really bring on very real and oftentimes very difficult to manage symptoms. Difficult to manage, which means they don't ever really sort of go away. Muscle pain, anxiety, armoring, bracing yourself, clenching your teeth, clenching your stomach, always bracing yourself as if you're just ready for the next pow. Instead of, pow to the kisser, you're going to get a pow to the stomach. And, this objectified feeling will really sort of feels very vapid, meaning very empty or meaningless. And people then sort of are oftentimes feel that if they feel this way, they feel that there's something wrong within them. I should feel, I must be so depressing. I'm so depressed after our date. I must be so depressing. I'm so upset after our dinner. I must be, because you're feeling depressed, oftentimes as a result for a deficit that you are not provided in the relationship. You are depressed and then feel that you are depressing. So people then begin to assign these qualities to themselves, really subconsciously. They don't become mindful. They because they're used to saying to themselves, the narcissist is superior. The psychopath knows better. The narcissist is, has more, is better. Do you see how you then buy into and then discredit and devalue yourself? You become an active participant in your own self-devaluation and your own unhappiness. Life is difficult enough. Don't make yourself more unhappy, and don't allow other people to infringe on your rights for peace, harmony, safety, security, serenity. Realize this and begin to declare these boundaries and standards, especially when it comes to the higher order, the higher vibration things like, becoming, feeling adept that you've mastered something in life. Oh dear, I knew that was going to happen. That was a painting. One of our viewers. I'm going to have to get this more solid. I'm developing more of a space. I knew that, and I haven't nailed these in. So that was my Tutti Frutti painting, the still life with the fruit. Anyway, so no shame here. This is just what it is. But what were we saying? Oh yeah, so the self-actualization, and meaning, if you're feeling low self-esteem, apathetic, depressed, sort of in a funk, and you can't really pull yourself out of it, ask yourself, what have I truly mastered? What can I feel good about? What have I mastered? And give yourself a chance to ask that and allow your subconscious to come up with the answers and write them down really quick before your internal censor has a chance to say, who are you fooling? You're not a good cook. You're not a good this. You're not a good dancer. You're not a good, craftsman. You're not a good listener. You haven't mastered whatever. What have you mastered? Let's own it today. Own what you have mastered. What are you good at? Even if the narcissist didn't give you the opportunity, oftentimes because if they're objectifying you, they're not going to see that you need emotional support, a chance, an opportunity, some input, hello, how are you? They're not going to give a life to this aspect of your personality. You'll find that this is limiting. People oftentimes want to protect the narcissist and say, oh, no, we're fine. I can love us, enough for the both of us, or these different things. That's okay. They're so good at this. I don't need to be good at this. And then you end up shortchanging yourself. You never have your own credit. You never have your own, finances. You don't have your own job. You don't have your own group where you can regroup. You don't have your own self-actualization or feel that you haven't mastered something. What have you mastered, or what are you in the process of mastering? And it doesn't mean you have to be off the charts excellent the way oftentimes the standards that the narcissist, which is unrealistic and oftentimes unattainable. You can't, the narcissist oftentimes, I think if they're objectifying, they want outcomes that are not even possible or probable. And so people oftentimes feel that they have disappointed. They are a disappointment. I mean, all these wounds, and they don't get a chance to feel okay. This is a horrible feeling. When you feel that you have been objectified. You're just there to help out with the dirty work. You're just there to be you're a physical pair of hands. You're a shoulder. You're someone to do this or that. But you don't get the full deal. You don't get the whole, you don't feel whole. You don't feel independent. You don't feel acknowledged and validated. But oftentimes you're okay going without. The human beings are very interesting. I mean, you can go without food. When you're upset, you can go without water. You can go without smiling. People live in these deprived states and they don't realize that they're deprived. So you have to realize and get on these things like the recovery date. So where you're, developing a healed vision for how you want things to roll, how you want things to fly, and then spend some time apart and away from these people who are objectifying. You don't have to make all of your goals and objectives about them. You are important as well. It's okay for you to have some independence. People oftentimes feel, well, if I do this and that, then we might not have anything together. This was the only string holding us together. What kind of fallacies or flawed thinking do you have going on there? And can you test these? You are more than just an object. You're not just your appearance. You're not just your possessions. You're so much more than this. This is a human value. And this oftentimes you might contain a value that's very hard to come by, precious or important. So realize this and own this. With every crisis is presented opportunity. So what opportunity is this crisis presenting to you? List 1 through 20. What opportunity is this crisis presenting you? And where can I do better? Where can I grow? And what would I truly like to master? And write this down for yourself. And just keep, peace and harmony. I'm going to work on all 20. No, bring 1 or 2 or even maybe 3 to the top. But keep it very simple. Look at baby steps. Oftentimes, just taking some of the first steps will be the most challenging and the most rewarding, and oftentimes you might need to repeat. Repetition and experience will help you to master and identify this. You're not just someone to schlep. You're not just someone to only listen. You're not just someone to observe. You have your own credibility and worth, and you are in the process of mastering something. What is that? What is that as an ongoing, and what can you feel good about for yourself today? and allow yourself to get a little bit energized because of this. Even if you have been sort of undercut, in this area before, slack behind the knees, up beside the jaw, where you were oftentimes maybe treated with jealousy. You had made an attempt and then somebody really wanted to ram you down and, show you who is boss. So be careful of the overhandedness of a manipulator, especially when it comes to objectification and treating you as such. You are more than this. I hope you acknowledge, validate, and realize this today. This is your buddy, peace and harmony with you here today. I hope that the videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. And yes, we've had a lot of viewers who have emailed and wondered where we've been. We've had some illness of some significant people here, and so I've just been very, very busy, and it's been very hectic. So thank you for your continued support. Thank you all for your well wishes, your prayers, and good vibes during this time. I can't even express how good that makes me feel, and how much I appreciate you all for your kindness in this matter at this challenging time. Have a wonderful day.